Hi guys, I hope you're doing well. Recently, I got new art supplies, new brushes, and a fresh wash palette, and I'm genuinely so excited to use them. This painting right here is actually my first portrait with gouache, and honestly, it turned out great. So today we are painting this sketch. I did it using watercolor pencils, and if you are working with gouache or any water-based medium, please use water-soluble pencils because they dissolve into the paint and won't ruin your line work later on. This sketch is actually based on a screenshot I randomly took from someone on the Instagram. I just felt like the eyes were so beautiful and I had to paint them. So yeah, that's what we are going to do today. As a beginner, I have mostly seen people using gouache with bold strokes and vibrant colors, and that particular art style is what I'm trying to experiment with today. Since I'm new to this medium, I didn't want to go too crazy with experimenting. Also, I've been using poster colors since I was a kid, and honestly, gouache feels quite similar to them. If you are from India, you probably have used poster colors too growing up, so you'll know what I mean. Gouache is very vibrant, but it requires a lot of control over its consistency. Whenever I paint, I always start with a translucent wash. It makes everything feels more cohesive, moistures the paper, and helps the paint glide better. And if you have noticed, I love warm oranges and pinks. Today I am going to do a pink base because I love pink. Okay, I noticed that pink in this wash palette is really cool tone, so everything else I did had to be cool tone too to keep the overall painting balanced and harmonious. And also from my experience, I recommend using synthetic brushes instead of mop brushes, especially for gouache. I personally had a hard time managing gouache consistency because mop brushes tend to absorb a lot of water, which again makes sense because they are specifically made for watercolors. So yeah, synthetic brushes should be used, like in my personal opinion. As I mentioned, the overall painting has a cool tone, so I went for like a cool toned eyes as well. If you have noticed my style, I really love using muted colors. I'm not a big fan of overly bold contrasting colors, but for today I didn't focus on contrast too much. I mainly wanted to understand the palette better before mixing my own colors, so I stuck to the ones available and explored how they behave straight from the palette. I genuinely love this sketch. It feels so fierce and alive, and I don't know, like there's just something about it that drew me in. Now for the base, I used a completely different shade like this orangey yellow just to experiment, and I feel like it really brought a touch of semi-realism to the piece. I didn't think it would work at first, but I'm glad it did. Since this was my first time, I struggled a bit with finding the right gouache consistency. I kind of lost the lines of my sketch while painting, and especially when it came to eyelashes. I had to rely on my memory because the ones I sketched were like very sharp and defined, and I didn't want to mess them up because like they were like the aura of the painting. Also, I chose eyes because for me at least, and probably for the most artists as well, eyes are just so beautiful and relatively easy to paint, and I feel less stress when I'm painting eyes. Plus, this is my new sketchbook which I made, and I really wanted to start it with something I love. And eyes hold so much emotion and drama, like they bring the painting to life, and I love that alive factor in art. Overall, I love this style. I usually don't paint like this. For this one, I mixed both the warm and the cool tones. Warm for the mid-tones and cool for the base, contrast, highlights, shadows and all that. And I feel like it worked because the mid-tones are quite light, which adds that pop of warmth and color that just brings it together. And I'm honestly so relieved I didn't mess it up because I have never like mixed tones like this before. Another thing I have learned is gouache palette has two types of whites. One is regular white for mixing, and the second is titanium white, which is like way brighter for highlights. And I found that highlights should always be done on completely dry layer, like it makes them pop beautifully. And if the paint underneath is still wet or semi-wet, the highlights won't stand out as much. But if you are just trying to create a sheer or a lighter tone, then layering over wet paint is totally fine. I was actually super excited to see the final result, and I was like, oh, I am done. But then suddenly I remembered I completely forgot the water droplets, and those were like such a key part of the reference. So I had to rush a little to paint them in, like not too much, but still. It was honestly so funny because I forgot this whole element that adds so much depth to my artwork. So yeah, this is the final piece, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned, I'll be uploading more gouache related content, beginner tips, and comment below like anything else you want to watch. And yeah, that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for being here like till the end. I love you. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye bye.